Hey everyone, it's Locan again for this week's chapter breakdown. Kronos, Rolly, and I are back to talk about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Join the discussion by leaving a comment and let us know what your take would be. Spoiler warning, this video will cover chapter 315 of My Hero Academia. If you enjoy these videos, please help support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to Texas Smash. Hit the bell icon and turn on notifications so that you can be sure to catch us every time a new chapter is released. Let's nerd out together. The chapter starts out with a flashback between Lady Nagant and Overhaul, where we get an explanation of why Nagant took Overhaul with her, and that was because he had seen Deku before and could now point him out for Nagant. Overhaul only asked her for one thing in return, and that is to take him to see his boss. We then jump back to the fight between Deku and Lady Nagant, where she's about to fire a bullet at Overhaul. Deku then uses Fa Zhen and combines it with 45% of One For All to get to Overhaul quick enough and push him out of the way from the bullet. Nagant is surprised that he was able to move quicker than her bullet, and Deku tells Overhaul he will get back to him. The third user gives us a breakdown of what Deku was using and the different combination of quirks. Deku then uses a Manchester Smash to break Nagant's rifle arm. Nagant is defeated and thinks back to when it was that she began to resent her career as a hero. Deku catches Nagant and tries to convince her to become a hero again and help them stop All For One. We then see Nagant's face to start to break apart, and All For One smiling and saying that he has countermeasures in the event of a failure in an agreement with him. Lady Nagant is then blown up. The chapter ends as Deku screams her name, but then appears Hawks and he catches his old colleague and is yelling, "Don't die on me yet."
Nagant definitely was shooting at Overhaul, so
Yeah.
we got that right from last week. That was her plan. It's pretty obvious.
Right.
And it was nice to know why. I mean, she had brought him to begin with just to pinpoint who Deku was. That was the only reason she brought him.
And I'm glad that they confirmed as well, because it was kind of like, all right, what is she bringing him for? And y'all, if y'all can confirm for me as well, this is right after the prison break. She's gotten float this whole scene, right?
Right. Because she's clearly floating back there to the clothes.
Okay, all right. I was
Airwalk.
like, yeah,
But yeah,
airwalk, yeah, floating, airwalk, same thing.
It's the same thing.
Pretty
Float.
much.
They're in order.
we do get some more detail on Fa Zhen in the next few panels too. I wanted to talk about, aside from the obvious, this is probably the biggest thing in the chapter. So in a way, I was sort of right. It does enhance quirks, but by repeating regular motions.
Yeah, getting that. Not only getting more, which there's even more of a breakdown further on, but it's kind of crazy to also see Lady Nagant's arm getting all huge and swollen like that. I guess she does have a limit to how much she can just be firing off her bullets.
Yeah. Although I will say, of course, we can only go by what's in the panels. It doesn't seem like her shooting has been happening a lot. It's not like she's doing rapid fire shot continuously over and over again. So it kind of maxed out pretty quickly.
I mean, I feel like she did. I think she's been putting, because when he did the smoke screen, she did 4 right one after another. That's 4. Then shooting him, he's been dodging, moving around, everything. I feel like she's fired off quite a few. We'd have to go back and
I just felt that I would have expected it to go a lot longer before it hit that stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Like, she really doesn't have that much, but it's a rifle. It's not a machine gun, so she's more of an assassin and not just like.
So it's probably not built for stamina usage, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way of putting it. I like that.
For accuracy.
Yeah.
Right. She doesn't get much of a chance. That's why we're even talking about it, because we don't find out, because Deku breaks that thing in half.
Yep, that was a great shot.
Very reminiscent of All Might in that panel where he smacks her arm. I thought he looked like All Might there.
Oh, when it's her from a distance?
Is it? No, I'm sorry. I got that mixed up. It's the panel where Deku shoves Overhaul out of the way. My bad.
Oh, yeah, that did.
getting ahead of myself.
Deku is going all. I mean, he's been going all out, but dang, it's like you were saying, Kronos. It is cool to see him using that potion, how that's working, and then in combination with All for One, and almost making it to where he's not relying just on 100% of One for All. He's able to use that as in combination with it to boost it. Is how I'm seeing it. Like you said, it is more of just like a boost. So that's cool.
It's I guess a better way now with the more detailed explanation. It changed in my mind from a boost was my early guess to more of a launcher catapult sort of thing. Like that's what he was doing with Black Whip to launch it out so hard and fast. That's why
Right.
Black Whip was sticking into the buildings because it was because of Fajin. But yeah, I think the biggest thing outside of, the bombshell, is all this stuff. Deku, not just the details on the third quirk, but also Deku figuring out, the pseudo, what does he call it? Pseudo 100% whenever he's saving Overhaul.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
that's what you were just getting at, Loken. Like,
Right.
yeah, realizing that, hey, if I go all out, I get tired. Big realization, right? But
Mhm.
Deku needs these kind of moments. It took him a while to figure out that he could kick. So now he's realizing that, hey, maybe if I don't have every single one of these flipped on at the same time. But yeah, just for One for All, Black Whip, and Fajin was the three quirks for that pseudo 100%.
From there, having the third user just breaking it all down, switching through so many different quirks. I mean, there's 4 different breakdowns of him saying what Deku's been doing and going back and forth and switching them on and off and in between each one.
I was just about to say, given that he's already, pretty much a beast at this point, I can only imagine, Deku down the road once he finally hits, One for All at 100%, mixing it in with Fajin. It's gonna be nuts. That's all I keep thinking about and keep getting excited for.
You just got me excited too, really? Yeah, I like that.
Because if he's able to use it One for All and make it seem like it's that at 100%, if he's gonna be once he hits 100% and that in combination, just
He'll be able to finally stop All for One for sure.
oh, absolutely.
To Rolly's point, when Deku hits that point, that's when he gets the green Super Saiyan hair going on that we saw when he fought Overhaul, which will be cool to see. So with everything he has today, mixing the quirks just the right way, all the experience Deku has smashed through Nagant's rifle arm, and then as she falls, the very cliche, as I'm dying, I realize I'm wrong. Or as I'm hurt and falling and losing the fight, I see.
It is cliche. It is. I still loved it, but yeah, it is very cliche. But it kind of outside of, Overhaul's quirk kicking in right here. I'm pretty sure this was one of the possible theories we had on how this was gonna end. Him Deku fighting Nagant with, his fists or legs and his words to finally crack through her exterior.
Yeah, which totally happens. That panel, Deku saying, if you were really on the same side as All for One, you would have just ripped through my back with your first shot right then and there.
Mhm.
But yeah, like he's won her over. You can see in her face.
Yeah.
Even the bullet that she fired at Overhaul, he even noticed that the trajectory was off. So, it didn't go exactly the way, but he did save Overhaul and then even was able to defeat Lady Nagant. And I think, even like he said, you got to reach your hand out. And what does he do? He comes and saves her. And that's when she's looking up at him like, you still have the heart of a hero. And she's just really, again, it's his actions that finally make people see the light again and sway them to his side.
And we kind of touched on it last week, these different shades of gray. Like Nagant is a villain unlike anybody, her backstory and everything. She's cut from a different cloth than, look at how different Gentle was and look how different Overhaul was for that matter. And Tamura's just your, straight up main bad guy. But you get the point I'm trying to make. All the villains are like coming from different perspectives every time. So
Yeah.
This is definitely the first time he's been placed in a scenario like this where so much of the society that has taught him and brought him up, including her, is revealed to be pretty much evil and very manipulative, and yet he still stays true to being a hero himself. So I know it's cliche, but I thought it was beautiful. And again, I just love Deku so much, and I'm so glad Nagant he was able to, because she is beautiful. Love her too.
Well, I actually set myself up here here because it is cliche, except for what happens next.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is cliche up until this point. Now it's Horikoshi time. So
This is definitely, I did not see it coming. Like, whoa.
yeah.
That was a shocker. It just broke my heart.
Yeah, Horikoshi, that guy.
It was funny because right whenever she was about to tell him he's a true hero and the stuff, at first I thought he was about to bust out of her face. That was my first thought until I saw the explosion part.
Yeah, it did almost look like whenever All For One took over Tamora in the war arc. Very similar.
That's what I thought it was. I'm like, now if he pops up on his face, I'm dropping his phone and going outside.
I thought Decay at first, honestly. Like, something in me just did think of Decay, like the way her face is, and it's starting to, but that smile, her smile, and I feel like she even knows it's coming. Like, I bet she's in pain and she can feel it. Like, it's almost like she knows she's about to die, so she's just looking up at him and is like, she has hope that the world can be corrected and that Deku will be the one to save it. And so at the very end, she's finally able to smile again, knowing that she can trust the fate of the world in Deku's hands. And it just breaks your heart that that's her last moment, is smiling up at him. And then on the very next panel, you got All For One, maniacal psycho, enjoying what he's about to do, knowing he was able to have a backup plan. You had the final smile of someone, an evil smile, and then boom, her blown away.
Yeah, it makes me
Ugh.
wonder if whenever he had gave her that quirk, did she know at that moment that it came with that little special seasoning on top? Like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. But if you betray me, I'm gonna blow you up.
So I don't think she definitely didn't know that, and I think she just felt it in her body, and she's smart enough to know when that was happening. She's like, "Oh, I'm about to blow up. I'm about to all for one's killing me." And then back to what you were saying though, Kronos. At one point, I almost thought too though that All For One. I didn't see the explosion. I only saw this other part. So I honestly, my thinking was going to, is he gonna take her? Is he gonna take her over? Like, is he gonna turn her evil and completely like mind wipe her and pretty much turn her into a Namu? That's what I thought kind of was gonna happen, was my initial thought. So this to me is a confirmation that even though he gives a quirk, hearts can be swayed. And he even says easily. So at the end of the day, All For One doesn't have the ultimate or end say as to whether someone will be evil or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's got different mechanics. I don't think it has to be a bomb necessarily. Like Kurogiri's case is definitely something different than Nagant and Tamora. All very different. I think All For One has different tricks he can do. But in this case, yeah. I mean, yeah, she was able to come over to the good side, but she still got blown up.
Right.
Which, on that, do you guys... I'm just going to go ahead. I don't think she's dead. I don't think so.
Me
My money
either.
is on she's living.
Yep, Rolly.
Yeah, I don't think she's dead. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna prepare myself though. I don't think she's dead, but I am going to prepare myself mentally and emotionally just in case she does. Because I could see how that could be a strong story point, but I don't think she's dead. I will prepare myself one way or the other though.
If Gran Torino can survive Tamora punching through his stomach,
Yeah.
then the god better be able to survive this.
I do agree. I do think she has to be alive. And I hope that him showing her face just utter blackness is just to hide what it truly looks like and not the fact that her face is just completely gone.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I want her to live.
Me too. If she's dead, I just am going to be frustrated with the fact that we got our first really hot female villain lead here, that isn't creepy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost makes you think she might be coming back soon. It's Toga time again.
yeah, Toga, thank you, man.
Toga party.
Yeah. Like, forget Toga. And I just feel like, I feel like we will, one way or another, we're going to get it the next chapter. It's, at least this is the one thing we finally do get a confirmation on, which we've all been wondering, is Hawk's going to be able to grow his wings back?
Yeah.
And you got 'em.
Those feathers are coming to bring her under, like catch her, and you can see his back finally. And they're little baby wings, but little cute little baby wings, but hey, there's a positive out of all this negative. There's like Lady Nagant about to die, but hey, Hawk's got his wings. Cool.
Yeah, because I was so scared that they weren't going to come back. Because I remember the last time we saw him a few panels back. Of course, he was sitting in the seat, and I'm
Right.
just looking up, and I've been trying to spot any feather I possibly could. Like, is he going to get them back? And it was so nice to see that there they are.
Now we know he can. Man, those things will pretty much grow back no matter what.
Pretty
I
much.
I thought they would too. I was like, nah, he wouldn't be Hawks without him.
Yeah, this is something that I don't really completely understand because comparable. If you were to rip Ojiro's tail off, his tail wouldn't grow back, right? Or are we saying it would?
Well, I think it depends on the quirk. Like if
Yeah.
Ojiro
The
is
mutant.
like, if his tail is like a gecko's tail.
Gecko. Is
Yeah.
that Deku's gecko? Deku's gecko.
Shut up. Like a gecko's tail, then yeah, he could grow it back. But I just think it all depends on the different quirk and how their body is genetically mutated.
And I just Googled this to see if actual birds' feathers grow back. And they say that they can replace their feathers.
So, I mean, we're getting real into the nitty gritty here, but the thing with Hawks was it was like the bones of his wings, like the tops where the feathers would grow down from. Seemed like it was bone to me. Does
Right.
Google say that would wings grow back
They're
from
not
that?
no, they're not bones. Because the way that I had always saw it
That's
with
what I'm
him
confused about.
is, like if you was to hold a feather and that middle part, that's not an actual bone on the bird.
Right.
But
Mhm.
his just grew out and then down to kind of make it look like a bone, but it's just that middle stalk. Because you would see him take off those much longer feathers and they would just be seriously long. So I don't think it
Mm.
was an actual bone out of his back. It's just that central part of the feather just bending.
Mm.
Because if it was bone, we would have he would just be grotesque if you just see these random bones just sticking out of his back and nothing on them.
Well, they're
Right.
burnt, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And I get what you're saying. I think at the end of the day, he does have some type of structure that is growing out. It's, and maybe a little bit of feathers are covering it. Like, when you pluck a bird's feathers off there, there's still skin over the bone. So, but no, I really do think he's legitimately going to grow out whatever was holding those feathers on. Because I know the big ones you're talking about, but even then, I mean, he had legit angel wings, so I feel like there's some part that is going to grow back, but
I
No,
would love a biology
that's what we're
lesson
saying.
on a bunch
Right.
of these quirks that they have. I would just love to see the anatomy. Just
right.
let me see,
Can we get a breakdown?
please.
Closing comments on the chapter? Or we good?
I'm pretty good. Hope she survives. But like I said, preparing myself for the worst.
I like your explanation, Rolly, of Hawk's wings. That can make sense in my mind. But another thing, talking about mutants, that I was going to bring up, Ida, which we recently saw in the anime, ripped his mufflers out so that they would grow back stronger, which allowed him to get his Recipro Turbo or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, like mutant quirks are always weird to me because they don't. I guess I try to categorize them into this is a mutant quirk, so this is how it works. But I guess it just depends.
Yeah, it just depends. Usually the way I try to go about it to make it make sense that if their quirk kind of depends on the biological aspect of something that actually exists. Like for example, Hawks with his feathers. I try to relate it to that as best I can. Um, just like I said, just to get it to make sense. So like, him growing his feathers back, makes sense. But if I think you had said Ojiro tail get cut off, unless that is an amphibian tail, that tail ain't growing back. So I try to match it up like that. And I usually I can't try to make sense of Ida since that is a straight machine part growing out of his calf. So I don't even, that's why I just draw the line. Like I'm not going to make sense of this. This is anime manga world.
Yeah, Wash could just be invincible, right? Just go get upgrade after upgrade.
Pretty much.
One very last thing for me, I promise. Nagant shoots at Overhaul while commenting about how much he hates the hero education and that only when a person dies because of Deku's mistakes will he understand its problems. That was stated in the chapter, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's one panel when she's getting ready to shoot, and she says, "Hero education is the one thing I hate the most. No matter what kind of person he is, anybody dying on your watch will weigh on your conscience."
Oh, okay, okay. But the person, so I guess the point I was trying to make with that is there was someone that, quote, died on his watch. It just wasn't Overhaul, it was Nagant. So you think Deku, how much do you think that messes with Deku, mentally speaking?
If she does die,
Yeah, let's say she does die. This quote here kind of stuck with me because it was she was
Mhm.
talking about Overhaul, but what ended up happening was she became that person. She was
Right.
the someone who died on his watch.
Right.
So now Deku understands the world's problems, according to this foreshadowing. I don't know.
I think that's a good point you make. And tying that in, I didn't see that make that connection, but now that you bring it up, I just at the end, Deku might be hurt by it, but at the end of the day, he is a hero. He's going to try to save everyone he can, but I don't think he's all because of his education. He's in this delusion that he would be able to save everyone. He lost Night Eye,
Yeah.
so people, it's not like no one has died. Yeah, it's an impact to him and it hurts him, but it just pushes him further to try harder and make sure that he can save someone. Is how I
Yeah,
would.
I agree. I don't see this breaking him or, I don't see anything negatively impacting him from this long term. If anything, like Locan said, it's just gonna push him forward.
Yeah, I think people uh like Nagant, Deku already knew a lot about the world that she didn't give him credit for, until the fight was over, then she finally realized it. But a lot of times people think Deku doesn't, isn't mature when he actually already is mature. It's just we're not giving him enough credit for being at that point already.
Yeah, all they see is just a kid, and for her, I'm pretty sure she just saw a kid who just wants to play hero, not realizing all of this crap he has had to go through to get to this point.
And I also
Hmm.
just don't think they realize how strong he is. And it's more comes down to them and the fact that they failed and they weren't able to do what they thought was right at the time, or they failed in some way and fell short. And so now they just think, well, I've been in your shoes. You're going to be going down the same path. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
they're just
way.
projecting.
Yes, exactly. And want to try to tear him down. And so, but that's how he wins
Yeah,
them over is by showing them, no, I am strong enough to be able to do this.
small
I
might.
agree. Small mic.
Cool. Well, unless you guys got anything, we'll do questions. Questions. My favorite part, honestly. I like questions because I never know what it's gonna be.
Ruhan was one to know, do we think that the Nagant's explosion will lead to Overhaul's awakening with his quirk?
Good question.
Excellent question. My first thought initially for me is I don't know how much Overhaul really is connected to Lady Nagant. I don't know if he's gonna be like, oh no, Nagant exploded, rawr. But maybe he did think that she was his ticket to get to the boss, and then because now he doesn't think he'll be able to get to the boss because she exploded, it might cause him to freak out and his quirk awaken that way. What do y'all
Mm.
think?
I so whenever it comes to overhaul, I honestly don't think much about his particular awakening. I don't give much thought to it. Cause I have to wonder if it's going to happen. Cause we have been seeing other people's awakenings coming through. Uh, I just don't know.
I think that there's a reason that Overhaul's being kept in the story. I'm gonna go with yes, he does use his quirk.
Because honestly, the most he could do is just, have it channeled through his feet.
Right. I mean, there's a few ways it could be. It could be what Loken was saying, how in his mind, Nagant is his ticket to the boss. It could be Deku saying, "Hey, if you do this, we'll do that for you." I mean, there's a few different ways it could happen, but there's a reason. There's a reason that Overhaul's around right now. Just like All for One planned ahead with Nagant. I mean, All for One was well aware that Overhaul was there too. So
I don't know how much value All for One had in him. And I think maybe possibly that's Nagant who saw the potential in him. And what if his quirk does awaken? and he's able to somehow mend her back.
Yeah, that's possible.
So, and that's what it is. He wants to get to the boss, and it was actually Nagant thinking ahead. And this is something that All for One finally isn't seeing, and she's like healed, and yay, and we still get her. Any way to get Lady Nagant to stick around.
No, I could see it going. That's two different ways. So my point is, there's a lot of different paths for Overhaul's quirk to be awoken in the near future. It could be to save Nagant, to go crazy and do his own thing because he's mad because he's not getting taken to the boss. Yeah, he's relevant. We just don't know how yet.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, he's definitely more relevant than just pointing Deku out. Like you said, Kronos, for sure.
Yeah.
Good question. Good theories, too. Because that will lead into this next chapter, like, what's going to be happening. So, the only other thing I'm curious is, Best Genius has got to be with Hawks, right? Or did Genius go to All Might, and is All Might and Best Genius on their way too?
It's hard to tell.
Right?
Because for all we know, they're all on the ground, just looking up, watching.
Sure.
I bet we get a UA chapter next week.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I'm calling it.
A UA chapter and a I am here.
No, I am here.
I'm serious. It's going to be on the last page once this ends. That is my theory.
That's not a bad guess. I'm not arguing with you on that. That's not a bad guess. All right. Well, any other questions or?
Nope, that was it in the chat.
Cool. You guys got anything else before we go?
Nope.
All good.
All good?
Yeah.
Catch y'all next week.